Welcome to a very special edition of Coffee on the Coast. We are going to be speaking with poet Adrian Walner. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host. I'm Tina Prigge, and I am so delighted for this special episode of Coffee on the Coast. We are talking with Adrian Wallner. Adrian Walner is a poet. Adrian Walner graduated from Roncalli High School, so she was once local, and she is here tonight because she has published a book of her poems, To the 4 a.m. Light. Adrian, let me just pull up a little bit better of a cover here. To the 4 a.m. Light by Adrian Walner. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tina. So great to be here.
And you're here. You are in Manitowoc. It is so great to have you back.
So great to be here. So great to see you. It's been so long, Tina.
It has been far too long, but we should tell people that, one of the reasons I'm surprised to see you here in the big city is because you are usually like ink in the branches. You are chill somewhere in the woods. You were telling me that you were a former park ranger and that you got to give tours at Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
How fun is that?
That's
Tell
right.
us a little bit about that.
It was awesome. Yeah, my husband and I were both park rangers at Mount Rushmore in 2016, which was the centennial of the Park Service. So it was a really cool year to be able to be park rangers and a phenomenal place to be. I don't know if you've ever spent time in the Black Hills, but it's absolutely gorgeous and everything is within driving distance. So every weekend we were just going to the Badlands, Wind Cave, all the other different parks in the area. But yes, I love the national parks. I love spending time outside hiking. My husband is actually a park ranger right now up at Isle Royal National Park. So I've been there a few times this summer and over the last couple of years. And yeah, you're right. I do live in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. I live in Hazelhurst in a little house in the woods. And yep, I'm usually spending time outside pretty much whenever I can. I write a lot outside. I hike, I camp, and I do actually quite a bit of writing while I'm hiking and walking as well. So
interesting. So the inspiration comes to you as you're walking?
Yeah, a lot of inspiration comes to me when I'm walking, and also it's a really good space to be in your head, because when you're on the trail, it's just you. It's just you and the trail, and you can really get lost in your head, especially if your feet are starting to hurt and you're kind of trying to maybe dissociate from that pain a little bit, focusing on something, some lines I'm working on, a story, or just thinking about ideas that I might be wanting to write about once I get off the trail. I definitely do that a lot when I'm hiking. So
that's fantastic. And there is no place like the Northwoods or some of the beautiful trails here on the coolest coast. And you can tell in your poems, Adrian, you can feel the influence of nature, and you can tell that you love nature. It really comes through in your poems. There's like an adoration for the beauty and the majesty that surrounds us. So I'm super excited to dig into these, but I just want people to realize who we're talking with. On the back of your book, Adrian, just the start of this testimonial is so powerful. I just want to read it so people hear it. It says, Adrienne S. Wallner is a poetry force field. Her poems are moving in the truest sense, physicality embodied in language that consistently speaks to the joys and griefs of being on Earth. That's the level that you're talking to us from this book. And, you have a way with language. It's so enjoyable to read how you play with language. And so I really think we should dig into some of this. I'm hoping, viewers, I'm going to let Adrian, of course, choose the journey she wants to take you on tonight. But I do have a special request that she start with Letter to Lake Michigan. We're here on the coolest coast. We love all of the amazing things about being here on the coolest coast, and your letter to Lake Michigan really just kind of captures that feeling. You talk about, you have rendered me unable to live beyond the reach of a strong shoreline. Adrian, that is how we feel. That's how I feel about the coolest coast. You've captured it here. So I'm just going to minimize myself, and if you want to take it away, everyone, this is Adrienne S. Wallner reading from To the 4 a.m. Light.
Thank you, Tina. And yeah, I would be happy to start off with that poem. I actually stopped at the lake before I came to the studio today just to say hello. And as much as I love living in the woods, that is one thing that I do miss, is not being near the lake. So this letter will tell you that. Letter to Lake Michigan. We don't need to talk. You always know why I need you. You comfort without speaking. You listen without hearing. I know you will always forgive me. When I wrap my arms around you, your embrace surrounds and slows me to the pace of sleepwalking, lifting the heaviness until I am floating, concern sinking beyond my reach. Your appetite for my troubles is always ravenous. You swallow with each swell the weight of my worry, replacing the hollow with currents of calm and comfort. You have rendered me unable to live beyond the reach of a strong shoreline and incapable of inhabiting a landscape without water. Thank you.
Bravo. Bravo. Thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can hear it, but there is applause. There's lots of applause happening.
Awesome. Thank you. So this poem actually is also another poem about a lake, but this is a lake in the North Woods. So I do find that water space when and where I can when I'm up there. Night thaw. Mute blue ice knocks, swells, and moans, round hollow whale moans that ricochet beneath the surface of Chain Lake. Glacial gestures melt, crack, shrink, freeze. Movement by altering molecular structure. Movement not seen but heard. Groans bend their echoes bottom up, bouncing thick waves that grow louder in the crisp still of darkness. A bright white moon alights the uneven, tirelessly repeated thaw and freeze. A great spectral bellow, a grand scraping, beautiful sound of science, melting motion amplified, tumbling into itself, reverberating each minute shift. Bottomless voices mumble bubbles below drowned growls and deep creeks that whiplash between shorelines where fragile ice edges heave their length. I close my eyes and inhale the sonic atmosphere. I feel the lake lean, crystal edges crinkling as they reach into the water between beaches, coaxing the dark body that speaks these frozen tongues.
Wow. It is so special to hear the words of an author in her own voice. It's incredible. Adrienne, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tina. Disquiet. Solar storms and stomach aches, feeding anxiety, encouraging mistakes, drawing anger out, shoveling worry in. Every night's sleep seems to wake as soon as it begins. Drenched in sweat, I am boiled awake, hours away from a state. My eyes snap open, I hurl my covers aside and fumble for my phone to check the time. The unnatural blaze of cellular light that we now completely accept as just part of our life informs me that it's 3 a.m. Why am I awake? As usual, checking the phone was a mistake. The luminescent rabbit hole that tempts to trivial and text as we numbly type and swipe to the next and the next. I didn't have to look. What difference did it make? I still wish I was sleeping and I'm still awake. But these days, who still lies still in sleeplessness's dark embrace? Who doesn't reach for their personal distraction database? How have we arrived in this place where our eyes thirst for screens and our hands are constantly occupied by gleaming machines? This desire for answers sooner than instantly, before immediately, and quicker than now has left us less able to comprehend somehow that our addiction to knowing is not as intelligent as it seems, as ideas give way to updates and devices replace dreams.
Adrienne. Wow.
Thank you, Tina.
And it's so thematic. I mean, it's so important for this exact age that we're living in and perfectly captures the angst of devices. Whoa. Hey, we've got a comment. Kath Tees says, hello, Adrian Walner Yeager. I made it.
Hey, Kat. Thank you so much.
So I just want to let everyone know that this is To the 4 a.m. Light by author Adrienne Wallner, and the poet herself is here tonight, and she's reading live from her book. Adrienne, what do you have next?
Well, let's see. This one, so I'm going to read this one at the request of Bev from LaDeDa Books here in Manitowoc, which is where you can find To the 4 a.m. Light, right on New York. So LaDeDa Books, there are signed copies there.
Oh, cool. Yes. Let me just remind people. So, To the 4 a.m. Light, this is the original poetry of author Adrian Walner, is available right here in Manitowoc on the coolest coast at our very own independent bookstore. It's called LaDeDa Books and Beans. It is right on New York and I think 17th. It's right on the corner. If you've never been there, you should certainly make sure that you go because it is so charming.
Yeah, it's a great shop. And I stopped in right before I came here, right before I went to the lake, and Bev said, "Would you please read the first poem in your book for me?" So
Awesome. This is for Bev.
Apology. You were right. It was mostly my fault. I didn't blame you. I regret certain things I did before you, certain things I did with you. I always just wanted to make things work. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do it at all. I am sorry. These are all lies. It's for you, Bev.
And so it's really special. Here we are listening to you read your poetry, and the books are available, signed copies at LaDeDa. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So tell us what you have next.
I think I'm going to read, this is actually one that Tina had mentioned that she enjoyed. So I think I'm going to read Shorelines. So again, like Tina said, I am so inspired by the natural world, spend a lot of time in it, and a lot of time writing about it because it's an endless muse for me.
And I think I didn't want to interrupt Adrienne, but I do want to say, I think you can feel that in your writing. You feel that love. It's so fantastic.
Thank you.
Carry on. Shorelines.
Shorelines. Beyond the dark cabin, the night waves shift. The lake laps the beach and rocks the rotting dock posts, the low air ripe with the weight of wet wood. Seasoned pier planks creak like tired bones. Fiddleheads and foxtail curl beside the spiny blossoms of Indian paintbrushes, their silhouettes shaping burst black firecrackers that sway before the last gray ribbon of an aged day.
It's beautiful. And what I love about that is it is definitely a moment in time. Like you can conjure yourself there and know like that lapping and the foxtails and the fiddleheads. And I mean, you can almost smell the air when you read that poem.
Thank you. Now I'm going to read the title poem from the book, To the 4 a.m. Light. To the 4 a.m. light. When I opened my eyes, you were unexpected. You, a shimmering white square draped over the edge of the bed beside my akimbo limbs and muted motion. A slumber-logged body, unaware and unprepared for such a bright, defined light. The only barrier between us, the shadow of my comforter, a feather and warmth wall separating your surprise from my thighs. I assume the moon is huge, full, determined. It's the only way you could have cut through the deep November night framed by my bedroom skylight. You, 4 a.m. light, brazen, bold, and bright, drifting through the darkness to my bedside. In my sleep stupor, I did not know where you had come from, only that you had come, and would not leave until morning shoved you over the edge of the roof. I closed my eyes and imagined you beneath the covers, lighting the places in me too dark for anyone else to see.
I don't even know how to unpack that one, and you just even shouldn't. It's so beautiful. It's like a little testament to like true love. Yeah, I mean, I love that.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank
so
you.
cool, the performance, Adrienne. Thank you. Thank you for reading and sharing.
Absolutely. This one's one of my mom's favorites. So, Mom, if you're watching, this one's for you. Hydrangea. In December, the white heads nodded to me through the fractured kitchen window. Ice-bound stalks bowed beneath winter's weight and splayed across the snow as though an invisible cat had settled in their center. January's whiteout winds sent blossoms flailing like a clutch of wind-whipped balloons. In February, drifts mounted against the garden fence, confining the hydrangeas in static soundlessness, the mute white noise of immobilized air. Now, in the reach of spring, crisp brown globes balance on rigid sun-strengthened stems. Blossoms bob sleepily beneath the first tepid rain.
Your command of language is such that you're able to convey so much in this concise package of words. It's beautiful. You are a force field.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. Yeah, when I got that blurb for the back of my book, I was like, Baron. It was written by Baron Wormser, who's a former poet laureate of Maine and author of many, many books. And I had the fortunate opportunity to be able to work with him in graduate school. And I'm just so thankful that he has been so supportive of my work. So it was great to have him on the back of the book saying those kind things. Since we're with the moon, we'll read another one about the moon. And there's a new moon tonight. So anyone who's coming up with intentions, letting go of the things you don't need to hold on to anymore and coming up with new inspiring things, today's a good day to do that. Lunar aptitude. Stereo frogs through the up and downstairs windows. The night sings songs of summer across the still forest. The waxing moon stark, pinned to the sky like a medal, proclaiming to all who look upon it the audacity and courage that it takes to be the fucking moon. Turning tides and shifting cycles, nobody really understands the pull and the power of such a wild natural motion. The sway she sustains with the muses, the clout she holds with the calendar, the sermon she speaks to her nocturnal congregation, the light she holds back.
That is so powerful. Adrienne, it's hard to rank poems, right? But that is that's one of my top favorites.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Good. Let's see. January birds. Chickadees flash harlequin faces as they skip and skitter to the birdseed. Nuthatches fluff feathers, careen their beaks backward toward the recently blued evening. Nightfall renders the hues of a Hopper-esque seascape, a frightened pastel palette shifting easily as the dark of moisture closes in. Downy woodpeckers slide their tufts sideways across the bark of the oft-grazed oak beside the feeder. The snowy woods glow an ultraviolet blue that is as stunning as it is unrecognizable, irreconcilable in its tectone, though it is the true unaltered color of a midwinter dusk in the north woods of Wisconsin. When the entire outdoors become blue, the birds fly from the feeder to their snug winter nests. They know not even the boldest songbird is spared by the Arctic bite of this January evening.
Right. Wow. Adrienne, I love your poetry like I love Emily Dickinson's poetry.
These are Kind words, Tina. Thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. I really am. So great to be able
Hopefully
to.
I'm not alone. I hope that
Yeah.
viewers appreciate how fortunate we are to have you reading. This is poet Adrienne Wallner, and she wrote the book To the 4 a.m. Light, and she is reading it to us right now, live on the coolest coast. Take it away, Adrienne.
Surveying the damage. My largest piece of beach glass holds pages open in last night's reference book. Only one mechanical pencil loaded, the rest empty as spent shotgun shells. Batteries removed from my desk clock, my frantic scribbles tick across the page. Poetry propped up beneath a halogen lamp, a library book, writing about writing, liberally notated. Tone, balance, object and image, poem and location to the reader, the structure of art, image, think about it, yes, language, tension, distraction, aspects of tone, process of delivery, how, balance, visual, undercurrent, the reader's desire to know. I read about writing, to write about writing, to read my writing, about writing, to write.
It's so clever. And that poem there's a whole like journey there of the artist, right? The whole experience. And I love this poem. Yeah, it moves across the page. That is so cool. And I just love how it really, encapsulates and draws the picture for you of what's happening. The largest piece of beach glass holds pages open in last night's reference book. Just that little statement alone, the fact that there's beach glass, that's a very unique experience, I think, to living like here on the coolest coast and along the Great Lakes, knowing what that's like to find it, to hold it, and the fact that it's holding pages open. So you're doing something, there's some reading happening, and then it's last night's reference book. So there's like research happening, there's like referencing going on, and that it's still there from the night. So it's like ongoing, there's time being invested, and that's just the start of the artist's journey that you describe. So cool, Adrienne.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have one question coming up on the side here. They're asking again. It's called To the 4 a.m. Light is the name of the book, Stephen.
Stephen, yeah, thanks so much for asking. And I will put up another graphic here so you get a good look at what it's like. And if you're here on the coolest coast, signed copies of the book are currently available at LaDeDa Bookstore on New York and 17th. So, Adrienne.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that image on the front of the book is a photograph that I took actually down in Chicago. So some people might recognize that, but it's near the lake in Chicago, near Congress Square, and it's called Magdalene by Dessa Kirk. And right now, when I took the pictures in the wintertime, so those are Christmas lights that make her look kind of weird along
spiky?
The edges. But but in the summertime, there's flowers and leaves that grow all the way up her skirt and then all the way up her wings. So it's a pretty cool piece.
That's pretty cool. I'm really glad that you told us it was a photograph too. I was thinking that maybe it was like a pen and ink kind of sketch. And so now it's a totally different experience that I think of it as a photograph. Oh, wow. Yeah, suddenly it's got depth. You can see like the statue way in the background. Cool. Well, we've taken so much of your time. Do you have another poem that you'd like to share?
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to read just one or two more here.
Oh, awesome. We are so lucky.
Yeah. So this one, there's actually, if anyone was part of my book launch, which you can access online if you go to my website, inkinthebranches.com, you can see the video of my virtual book launch because, of course, book coming out during the pandemic. My book launch was virtual, and this particular poem, my very good friend Kelly Hepper did a song inspired by it. So there is a musical version of this poem that you can get to on my website. And hopefully Kelly will be recording it soon. So I will get that to you when she does. Long distance postmark. Light cut across the room like warm, fleshy knives sinking into my skin. A feeling too hot, too much like desire and obsession to shine away the sickness that lived beneath the sheets and fed on my bones. From millions of miles away, the sun cooked me in my own juices. I could only imagine how hot it must have been where you were. You who was living in sand and lying in letters. The curls of your script averting my eyes with sweet swears of how I was the only word in your mouth, the only tongue on your skin, the only body in your memory. I sat steaming over what I did not know, when I did not sleep, why I did not see your shadow swell in the lonesome light pillaring the length of my empty hallway. But I was not the only one waiting for your long-distance postmark. P.S. Years after I forgave you, I found your letters and burned them all in my backyard. Watching the flames consume the serpent twist of your penmanship, I smiled, and envelopes became ashes.
Oh, okay. So this book, you guys, To the 4 a.m. Light, Adrian, this book is a journey. Not only does each poem take you on a journey, but this whole book is like the heartbeat of life going through it, right? You have these ups and these downs and these intense moments, and it's like all captured here for us to experience that same kind of wave.
Thank you. And I guess then that makes sense to end on the last poem in the book. So that's what I will complete our journey with here.
Okay.
Clarity. I am building a sacred space within my heart, building a space inside my own mind to be free and place my energy into creation and light. I am building a sacred space. Sometimes I struggle and suffer and sabotage. Sometimes this cavernous yearn for fullness challenges. Yet I continue to smile and exist and believe that something good is there. That all things are truly possible if I can withstand the judgment of my own mind against myself. I am building a sacred place within my heart. I have the power, if I so choose to exercise, to let myself be happy while continuing within the discomfort and discouragement of the challenges of living toward fulfillment. I am building a space inside my own mind to be free. It is difficult at times to stand up to the negativity and doubt often brought on by those who do not strive, but even by those to whom I am the closest, that I love the most. But it is I who allows myself to be deflated from joy by these carefully doubting elements. I am building a space to place my energy in creation and light. How do I begin to achieve and realize without the ability to see what I desire exist? If I do not allow myself to dream or believe in what I seek, how will I ever find it? I must recognize, respect my own passion, and seek and follow and pioneer my path. This is instrumental in happiness, joy, contentment, and fulfillment. Visualize, intention, believe, build, arrive. I am building.
Yes. Yes. Adrian, before you close the book, read the last little block with the positive intention words. Listen closely.
Visualize, intention, believe, build, arrive. I am building.
This is quite possibly the most important poem in the book because it tells us to believe in ourselves and to start that building. And I mean, it's just such a good, I'm going to rewind it and listen to this one a couple of times.
I'm so glad.
We are
That's the best thing you can tell a poet is inspired someone, right?
Yes. Yes, and you have. I'm inspired by you, Adrienne. And thank you so much for taking the time. Adrienne is here in Manitowoc. She's actually in another studio here in the office. She was reading to us To the 4 a.m. Light. This is a book that she wrote. It's currently available. Signed copies are at LaDeDa. Adrienne, I'm so thankful that you took the time to be with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Tina. It's been so great.
Yeah, it has been so great. And you know what? Come back again soon. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for watching Coffee on the Coast, this
Thank
special
you.
edition.